Donald Trump is panicking as the war in Iran has no end in sight, and the United States and Israel were leaking to American and Israeli press that a ground invasion involving the Kurds was actively taking place, when in fact that was 100% false. The United States and Israel were leaking to local Israeli media as well as to Fox and Axios that the Kurds were engaged in an active invasion against Iran, and that turned out to be 100% false. Jennifer Griffin, who almost always gets her sourcing 100% correct, and I know she reports for state regime media, but she's actually one of the only good reporters at Fox. I mean, she was played by the Trump regime, and she reported thousands of Iraqi Kurds have launched a ground offensive in Iran, U.S. officials tell Fox. Israeli officials then confirmed to N12 that Kurdish forces engaged Iranian forces in northwest Iran. Then there were multiple confirmations from the U.S. to Barak Ravid of Axios, who reports on matters in the Middle East, that Kurdish Iranian militias have launched this ground offensive in northwestern Iran. And then it turned out to be just 100% false. The deputy chief of staff to the prime minister of the Iraqi Kurdistan denied all reports today from these media outlets, citing American, Israeli, and other officials regarding the start of a ground offensive by Iranian and Iraqi Kurds against forces of the Islamic Republic in northwestern Iran. So just more Trump and Netanyahu regime lying. Aziz Ahmad, who's the deputy chief of staff for the Iraqi Kurdistan region, says not a single Iraqi Kurd has crossed the border. This is patently false. And not only is it patently false, but it's kind of putting the Kurds at risk. And by saying this, the Kurds now become targets in the region from the Shiite community there that may be loyal to the Ayatollah. And so it's just the United States using the Kurds once again. And if the plan here is to try to get the Kurds to invade, don't you think this is going to backfire by just leaking things that aren't true? The Trump regime lies about everything. Then you had the KDP Foreign Relations. That's the Kurdistan Democratic Party, the leading party in the Kurdistan region of Iraq. They posted the following. They said that the president of the Kurdistan region is reiterating that the Kurds will not be part of any conflicts and, as always, will remain a factor of calm and express support for diplomatic efforts to resolve the crisis and remove the threats posed by regional tensions. And so what seems to have taken place is that the Trump regime was trying to pressure and coerce the Kurds to do this invasion. Remember, the Trump regime previously, frequently betrayed the Kurds. They betrayed the Kurds in the first Trump administration, betrayed them again recently in Syria by not protecting the autonomous Kurdish regions in Syria, because Donald Trump loves the al-Jawlani guy, the dictator in Syria who used to lead al-Qaeda, who Trump sprays perfume on and sniffs. And so what seems to have happened is that Trump and Netanyahu wanted the Kurds to do this ground invasion, that the U.S. is getting desperate and needs boots on the ground because the people of Iran are not rising up in the way that the Trump regime was expecting. You had people protesting last month, but Trump regime threw them under the bus and didn't have their back, and 30,000, 40,000 Iranians were massacred as a result. And also the Trump regime is saying that they would support somebody from the Islamic Republic over democratic forces running Iran. So it's hard to inspire Iranian people to do an uprising if they believe that Donald Trump's just going to support someone in the Islamic Republic at the end of the day. And so they tried to pressure the Kurds. The Kurds said, no, we ain't doing this. You ain't using us again. So the Trump regime and Netanyahu leaked to the press that a ground invasion was taking place to draw in Iranian forces to the border. And then I think the U.S. and Netanyahu were ready to start attacking Iranian troops as Iranian troops move towards the border. I think you put all the data points together, and that was the plan. And to me, it just reeks of desperation. I think the Ayatollah and the new Ayatollah, that is Manjaba, the son of the old Ayatollah, I think they realize this. I mean, these are the types of gimmicks that Trump did with his casino business, where he bankrupted them. And I think it just shows, utter desperation. And this, as the United States is rushing, Trump regime is rushing rushing to Congress here to get a supplemental appropriations package because we're running out of munitions. As we said, that was what was happening. So Donald Trump held this kind of bizarre press conference again this morning, this bizarre event where Donald Trump, though, wanted everybody to know that we're still doing very well. And on a scale of 1 to 10, he says we're doing a 15 in the war. So on a scale of 1 to 10, we're doing 15. Remember what he said about COVID, like a miracle it was going to go away? And what would he rate himself on a scale of 1 to 10 with COVID? And he said an 11. This guy's a disaster. He's a fraud. He's a con artist. He's a felon. He's a sexual abuser. Just watch him lie. Play this clip.
I think you probably want to speak about war rather than this, but this is very important. This is very important, and we're doing very well on the war front, to put it mildly, I would say. Somebody said, on a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15. And we're going to continue to do well. We have the greatest military in the world by far. And
then Donald Trump continues to lie and say, if we hadn't hit Iran, then within 2 weeks, they would have had a nuclear weapon. Just more lies. Play this clip.
If we didn't hit within 2 weeks, they would have had a nuclear weapon. If we didn't do the B-2 attack a number of months ago, they would have a nuclear weapon. And when crazy people have nuclear weapons, bad things happen. So we're in very good shape now. I want to let you know that, and we will continue forward. But it's a great display of military strength, and I'm very proud to have, with some of the people in the room, both senators and congressmen, we rebuilt, and women.
Then he changes the justification for war against Iran that's now engulfed the entire region and may be engulfing the entire world. The world is involved in this war. Call it what you will. But Donald Trump says, we did it for Israel. I mean, here he is saying it. You could listen to his words. Here, play this clip.
Years they've been killing our people and killing people from all over the world. And I think we have great support. And I think if we didn't do it first, they would have done it to Israel and give us a shot if that was possible.
And then Donald Trump, as Trump's regime is now trying to say this is not a war, right? They're saying this isn't a war. This is a special military operation, the same language that Putin used. But he wants you to know, despite the fact that our soldiers are getting killed and seriously wounded, despite our embassies being blown up, despite Iran continuing to launch drone strikes and ballistic missile strikes, the whole region is on fire right now. Donald Trump, just like Pam Bondi, they're saying the Dow broke 50,000. Forget what the Dow is today. Forget the Dow broke 50,000. So you all should just shut up and just be happy that the Dow broke 50,000. He literally says that. I'm not making this up. Play this clip.
But these interludes are very important, especially this one. But the economy has never been like this. We broke 50,000 on the Dow. People thought we wouldn't do that within the first 4 years. We did it in the first year. And we brought 7 on the S&P, 7,000 on the S&P. They said that's even less likely to happen.
But he's very busy, folks. So he says, I got to go back and look at the war. I got to go back to look at the war. And then he leaves that press conference. Weird. Here, play this clip.
I have to go back and look at the war. I have a lot of things happening. Thank you, Bernie. You're doing a great job.
So then Caroline Leavitt, Donald Trump's chief propagandist, takes over from there. And she's like, it's safe to say Operation Epic Fury has been a smashing success. Play this clip.
It's safe to say that thus far, Operation Epic Fury has been a resounding success.
And she says, we base things right now about what we're doing on the president's feeling. When he has a feeling, that becomes the fact. If you're like, did she really say that, Ben, that we base our strategy on Donald Trump's feelings? Here they are. Play this clip.
The president had a feeling, again, based on fact, that Iran was going to strike the United States, was going to strike our assets in the region, and he made a determination to launch Operation Epic Fury based on all of those reasons. And
then she's asked by a reporter, did the United States airstrike hit a girls' elementary school, killing 175 people? All the intelligence says that's what took place, that the United States blew up an elementary school. So what is your answer, Caroline? This is a big deal that all of these little girls and boys were killed in a United States and Israeli airstrike. What happened? And she goes, no, that didn't happen. We don't target civilians. you're just reporting fake news. Well, give us the truth, Caroline. Oh, you're incapable of that. Here, play this clip.
President, that is on the table. Sean.
Hey, did the United States airstrike a girls' elementary school and kill 175 people?
Not that we know of, Sean, and the Department of War is investigating this matter, and I would just tell you very strongly, the United States of America does not target civilians, unlike the rogue Iranian regime that targets civilians, that kills children, that has killed thousands of their own people in the past several weeks, and uses propaganda quite effectively. And unfortunately, many people in this room have fallen for that propaganda. So I would caution you from pointing the finger at the United States of America when it comes to targeting civilians, because that's not something that these armed forces do. Reagan.
More lying from Caroline. She says, okay, with respect to Spain, they've now decided that they will allow the United States to use their Air Force bases after they heard Donald Trump say that we're going to do a Spain embargo. They changed course, and now Spain is on Donald Trump's side, and they're happy to help. Yet another lie. The Spanish government announced, no, we're not doing it. We are not going to cooperate militarily with the United States. This is a lie. The Trump regime just lies about every damn thing. Here's Caroline Leavitt lying. You could hear it for yourself. More lying from Caroline. Play this clip.
Does that at all put a wrinkle in the president's plan for a trade embargo with them?
With respect to Spain, I think they heard the president's message yesterday loud and clear. And it's my understanding over the past several hours, they've agreed to cooperate with the U.S. military. And so I know that the U.S. military is coordinating with their counterparts in Spain. But the president expects all of our European allies, of course, to cooperate in this long sought after mission, not just for the United States, but also for Europe, to crush the rogue Iranian regime that, again, not only threatens America, but also threatens our European allies as well. With respect to oil prices and the economy here at home, of course, and
as I mentioned, look, the United States and Israel are bombing the hell out of Iran right now. I mean, it is making shock and awe of Iraq look small. I've heard people try to quantify what's taking place in Iran as 2 to 3 times what went down in shock and awe in Baghdad and Iraq. But at the same time, Iran is hitting Cyprus, Israel, Jordan, Iraq, Bahrain, Oman, Turkey, Kuwait, UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. Turkey is a member of NATO as well. And apparently NATO now has to get involved. The question is Article 5 being formally invoked right now, putting all of NATO at war because of Iran striking Turkey? We believe the NATO interceptors stopped the strike on Turkey, but we're getting more data about that. Azerbaijani troops have reportedly been put on combat alert and are deployed to the border with Iran. The independent media outlet Kazjeti reported, citing sources. And now the United States has run to Zelensky because we now need Zelensky's help. The tables have turned where because Zelensky and Ukraine, they know how to stop these Shahid drones, and they know how to stop the ballistic missiles because they've been fighting against them because Iran's been giving the weapons to Russia to use against Ukraine as Donald Trump's been attacking Ukraine and taunting Ukraine and withholding weapons from Ukraine. Zelensky has said the United States and others, the American side, has reached out to us for help about what they can do. Watch Zelensky. You can hear what he says. Play this clip.
Партнери звертаються до нас, до України, щоб ми допомогли із захистом від шахедів, з експертизою, з реальною роботою. Були запити щодо цього і від американської сторони. Зараз цими днями я говорив з лідерами Еміратів, Катару, Бахрейну, Йорданії, Кувейту. Будуть ще перемовини з іншими регіональними лідерами. Ми координуємося з нашими партнерами в Європі. Звісно, будь-яка наша допомога, тільки за умови, що це не зменшить наш власний захист в Україні. І що це буде інвестицією в наші дипломатичні можливості. Ми допомагаємо в захисті від війни тим, хто допомагає нам, Україні, наближати достойне завершення війни.
And again, this is needed, especially because the Pentagon is rapidly burning through its stockpile of precision weapons at a rate that puts the U.S. military potentially days away from having to prioritize which targets to intercept, according to 3 people familiar with the matter. Here's a photo of Marco Rubio, because we also learned that Americans stranded in the Middle East region are saying that the State Department hotline Marco Rubio told them to call plays a recorded message warning: please do not rely on the U.S. government for assisted departure or evacuation at the time. From all of the ambassadors who served in prior administrations, Democratic and Republican, they've said, we've never seen a situation so bad where we've gone to war with no plan for evacuation, and that the United States State Department is telling people there's nothing we can do. You're on your own. Good luck. That's the update of everything we know right now. We'll keep you posted as always. Keep checking back on the MeidasTouch YouTube channel. We're trying to do our best to give you all the factual information you need. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers, and thank you so much for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.